Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rayma, and this week I have a treat. So I've decided to attempt to undertake the 24-hour reading challenge, and I know that there are different ways that people go about doing that. Some people, they will try to just do the whole challenge nonstop, and then others, they have like breaks in between. I think I'm gonna do the breaks in between. I don't see myself, I just don't enjoy being sleep deprived. I'm not even gonna do it for entertainment. So I feel like taking breaks in between and just stopping the timer whenever I'm not reading would be ideal for me. And so I've never done this before. And in my last video, I was literally just talking about how I feel like we should take the pressure off of ourselves when it comes to reading books and not being so focused on the amount of books that we can read and just enjoying the story instead. And so this is not something that I want to do to try to see how many books I can read. It's not really about that for me. I just want to I want to practice reading for a prolonged amount of time, because when I was younger, it was like I was able to sit down or lay down in bed, my dog is over there doing something, and just read something like Twilight for hours at a time without being distracted. And it's like now I'll read a chapter. When the chapter's over, I'll put the book down and then pick it right back up, because it's like I always have to take a pause of sorts, and I don't like that. I want to practice focusing on one book, and I think that the 24-hour reading challenge could be good for me in that regard. And so since I haven't done this before, I don't know how many books I'll be able to read in this amount of time. I'm not expecting to read, I'm thinking maybe I can finish one for sure, but I'm not expecting to read more than two. However, I do have 3 lined up, and they are right here. The first one is Perish by Latoya Watkins. This is my book club's book. We have a meeting sometime soon. I think it's the 15th. So I want to make sure that I go ahead and finish this. It is another intergenerational story. The last book that we read, Grown Women, was kind of like that. It followed generations of women. This one is a little more I won't say that it's more complex, but it's not necessarily just, I don't know if it's about women specifically. There are men in this book too, but I'm really not that far into it. This is where my bookmark is. And all I know is that it's another traumatic read, but it has really good reviews, and it's won a lot of awards. And so I know that it's going to be good, but I have a feeling that it's going to be pretty heavy. And so to follow that up, I have The Neighbor Favor, which one of my friends recommended this to me, and I've also seen this a lot over the internet. And I haven't read any of Christina Forrest's books, and I feel like I'm just really not up to speed on Black romances, and so I want this to be my foray a little bit further into that. And I also want to just read a lot more Black romance, because I hear a lot about Tia Williams, which I did read 7 Days in June, but also, what's the other one? Kennedy Ryan. I've heard so much about them and their books, and I really just don't want to be left behind out of the conversation, because yeah. So I just want to make sure that I'm keeping up with things. So I want to read this one after Perish, because like I said, I feel like Perish is going to be a pretty traumatic book. And so assuming that I'm able to finish this, which I don't know, maybe I will, maybe I won't, I don't know. I want to at least start Worthy by Jada Pinkett Smith. This is one of 2 memoirs and autobiographies that are on my shelf that I haven't gotten to yet. I've actually done a pretty good job of most of the books on my shelf. I would say maybe 65% of them I've read. So, but this is one of 2 memoirs or autobiographies that I just have not picked up yet. And I'm not going to say that I like mess. I love reading about celebrities' lives, because you just learn things that you never knew before. And I kind of do like being in people's business a little bit. But I also really just enjoy learning the lessons. But for some reason, the Will Smith, Jada stuff, it just felt not something that I wanted to explore, because a lot of things that have gone on with them in recent years have kind of given me a headache, because I've always been a big fan of Will Smith. and Terror. I love Red Table Talk, and I was just like, I don't want to read anything bad about these people that I like loved for so long. But I want to read her story because I read Will's, and I think that a lot of people just denigrated her online, and I think that her story deserves to be heard. I really am interested in hearing it. I don't know. I guess I just thought maybe it would make me sad, or I just don't want to hear anything else bad about their lives. But his book had like an uplifting element to it, and I can tell that hers will too, because it's literally called Worthy. And on the back of it, it says, "A queen is her own savior. Her magic is quiet, patient, and mysterious." So I do think that regardless of what the content of the book is, I will probably end up feeling like a little bit lighter afterwards. So I'm excited to get to that. The other book that I have that's a memoir or autobiography that I haven't read yet is Kerry Washington's, which I don't really feel the need to read, but I'm gonna read it because it's up there eventually. But yeah, so this is the stack of books that I have. This is the stack of books that I have, my little TBR for the 24-hour challenge. We'll see if I get through all 3 of them. That's not what it's about. Like I said, I just want to practice reading for prolonged periods of time, and maybe it'll stick even after the challenge. I don't know. But today is Sunday, April 6th. And I'm not starting it today. I'm going to keep reading this a little bit this evening, but I don't think that I want to. I don't know. I'm undecided on whether or not I'm going to start the challenge today. I might. I was going to say that I wasn't, and I was going to start it tomorrow morning and try to do like at least 6 hours a day. But I mean, I guess I could start today. It's, kind of cozy and rainy outside, so there is, I think I can do that. So. But yeah, I'm just going to end this part. I'm going to end this video right here, and I will go ahead and start reading Parrish. All right, see you soon. Monday, April 7th, so the next day, and this is where we're at. We have about 21 hours and about 30 minutes left. I read a little bit yesterday afternoon, evening, and I read a little bit this morning, and I made a little bit of progress. I think I only read about like 30 something pages. And like I said, this isn't about the amount of books that I can read. It's really about sitting and like sticking with something for a prolonged period of time instead of checking my phone, putting the book down, and like maybe watching something on Netflix and coming back to it later. Like I want to just be able to sit. I want to heal my attention span. in other words. So I'm very excited about this. So I'm planning on spending, I guess we'll say minimum 3 hours today, max like 3 to 4 hours today. I want to spend reading Parish. Right now I'm on page 79. So it's a really good book. I wasn't excited to read it, but then I was excited to read it. It has a lot of really good reviews, and but I knew that it was going to be a traumatic read, and I was like, I was thinking to myself, I don't want that. Like, who wants to be sad? But I know that there are a lot of people who read books and they enjoy being made to feel that way. So I was thinking to myself, I don't want to read it, but then I knew it would be good, so I was kind of excited to read it because Grown Woman wasn't a happy book, but I really, really enjoyed it. And so I'm reading it, and it is a lot. If you are somebody who enjoys Toni Morrison, that kind of literature, I think that this would be a good book for you. Honestly, I feel like it's a great book. As somebody who tries to stay away from trauma reads, even though I know it's good to expose myself to them, I can objectively see that it is a good book, and I am enjoying reading the story. Like, the author is a really good storyteller. It's super complex, like the generations and how generational trauma affects different people and the things that happen. And I'm thinking that forgiveness might be at play eventually in the book, but it is really, really good. And it made me think about how I want to rate books in the future. Like, I think that some people give book ratings based off of whether or not they liked the book or they felt like reading it. And I think that for me, that's just not really a viable way to critique something. Did the books do what it set out to do? And I think that's how I want to rate the books. Obviously, if I really enjoy a story and I think that it's exactly what I wanted and it just gave me what I needed, I'll give it 5 stars. But on the other side of that, like, say that it wasn't that for me, like it might not stick with me forever, but objectively, as objective as we can be, I guess, it was a really good book and it did exactly what it set out to do, then that is also something that I would probably give 5 stars. So again, I think that this might end up being a 5-star read, honestly. And so, objectively speaking, because again, like I said, this is not something that I think that I would just go and pick up on my own, but I am happy that my book club exposed this to me. And so we have 21 hours, 29 minutes and 31 seconds left on the clock. So I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb and we're gonna get to it. I'm putting it on the reading Do Not Disturb. I don't know if it's focusing, but okay. And we are going to begin. I have 18 hours, 38 minutes left on here. Also, I made it to page 147. One, I'm tired. Number two, this is a really good book and a very easy one to just keep going. So I'm really proud of myself that I have been able to continuously read, which has been my goal. And I would say that I'm almost halfway through the book. Not quite, but almost. It's a lot, and I'm really happy that I'm following this up with The Neighbor Favor as I plan to. But yeah, I definitely expect to finish this. It's really good though. I was telling my boyfriend about what it was about, and he was just like, sounds dramatic. I wish that I could talk freely on here about the nitty gritty of books, and maybe I'll start doing that. Maybe I'll have like spoiler included reading vlogs or book talks instead of trying hard not to spoil everything, because I think that's what it's about, like talking about the nitty gritty of the book and exactly what happened that made you feel away. So I do think that I might start, when I have a really strong feeling about a book that I've read, just do a video separate where I talk about the book, spoilers and everything. Because I don't think that I feel like for me, my channel is not complete if I can't talk about the whole book. It just feels like I'm being very surface level when I only talk about certain things, or at least what's on the back and how it made me feel. There is some stuff in this one, definitely, I don't know. I feel like for them to have made this a book club read, it kind of required like a trigger warning. Not for me personally, but just in general, in case somebody has dealt with some of the subject matter of this book, because it is a lot, and the back of it does not tell you like what that is, what that trigger point is. So I don't know. Like I said, it's a really good book though, and I'm tired, so I'm going to go wash my face, oil my scalp, brush my teeth, all that stuff. I showered after the gym earlier, and then I'm gonna get ready for bed. So I'll talk to you guys tomorrow sometime, probably after work. All right, bye. It's 9:48 p.m. on Tuesday, whatever day that is. I have a little bit under 15 hours left. I am on page 249 of Parish. I think there's only like, there's 320 something pages, so I'm over halfway done. This book is just a lot, but it's really good, but it's a lot. And that's all I have to say right now. I just finished Parish, and it took me about 12 hours to read it. I have 12 hours and 18 minutes left on the clock at this moment. I just want to say that I don't read slowly. I read fast, but it's just that I'm big on comprehension. If I read something and I don't understand it, I will read it over and over again until I can make sense of it. And then sometimes when I read, I zone out too. But I think that I just read a 6-star book. Like, this is not the kind of book that I would pick. This book is not just trauma porn. Like, the little excerpts of people's like reviews of it on the back of the book are true. Miraculous and moving light glimmers at the edges of this wise novel. Like, these people have been through something that in my mind, I be getting mad at people for like, not dumb stuff, but I be getting upset and my feelings get hurt, and I just be thinking like, I don't want nothing to do with these people. These people in this book have been through things that I just feel like a lot of us would think there is no coming back from that. Like, there is no way that if that happened to me, I would be okay. Or there's just no way if that happens to somebody that you would be a functioning full person after that. And it's just so like wise, and I've just never read something like this. I'm sure that there are other books out there that exist like that, like maybe people who read, because people did say like Toni Morrison and The Color Purple, books or books like that and authors like that, like that might be reminiscent. I'm I can't believe it. Like, that was an amazing book. It was amazing. And it's got me thinking, because I don't want to trivialize like my own life experiences and say that I've never been through anything, because we've all been through stuff. I'm grateful that was not my portion, you know, but it also puts into perspective like these things that I get so angry about, and I'm just like, I feel like it's the end of the world when like somebody does something to me or talks to me a certain kind of way, there's a situation. It's not the end of the world. It could be so much worse. And I don't want to do that either. Like, I don't want to take somebody's situation and then put it next to mine and be like comparing like the oppression, like the trauma Olympics or something. I don't want to do that. But perspective is a really important thing to have. I don't know what else to say. This is just a really good book, and it made me laugh at some points. It taught me some lessons. I thought that I knew it was going to happen in some points, and then that did not happen. Like, it is masterful. And this is LaToya Watkins. This is her debut novel. This is her first book. Like, wow. That's all I have to say. So next we are reading The Neighbor Favor. I'm not starting that today. That's going to have to get started tomorrow, because there's no way. I mean, like light romance is good, but I'm just like, I don't know. I think I just need to sit with this. And also I need to do like my little book journal entry before I start the next book, because I want to make sure that I'm doing that. Because sometimes I let them pile up and I'll have like 3 books to put in the journal, and I haven't even like it. I feel like I'm rushing through it, and I don't like doing that. So I think I'm going to journal it first, maybe tonight, definitely tonight, so that I can start The Neighbor Favor. Maybe tonight, I don't know, but definitely tomorrow. But it's just really good, y'all. It's really good. It's really good. And I just think that everybody should read this book. That's all I got to say. All right. It is now Thursday, April 10th. And we have, I don't know if you guys can see that, about 12 hours and 18 minutes left on the timer. I have since, as you know, completed Parish. And before I started The Neighbor Favor, I wanted to make sure that I went ahead and did my book journal entry for Parish. And so I'm trying to do better about that. So now I can move on to The Neighbor Favor. I didn't want to start this yesterday because I just felt like Parish was too good of a book to just immediately start reading something else. I wanted to sit with it, and I'm happy I chose to do that. I'm happy that I did the book journaling too beforehand. So again, Parish was really good. It's not the kind of book that I would normally read. It's not the kind of book that I would want to like read a lot of. I think every now and then I can do it, but constantly, no. I don't know how people read like Toni Morrison or authors like that, like back to back to back, like the heavy reads. I cannot do it. I feel like I'm very sensitive to stimuli. So like if things just make me feel ways, and so I have to be careful, I think, about what I allow into my spirit, as my mom would say. And it's not that, again, like that story is a bad story. I think ultimately it's very Parish, like it's inspirational and hopeful. I just felt like I can't do that on a daily basis. So, so yeah, now we're gonna move on to Happier Pastures, The Neighbor Favor. This is a Black contemporary romance, and I don't think that, I'm not expecting like the same level of verbal or like just deepness to the plot and the dialogue, but I'm expecting something like fun, fluffy, cutesy read, and I haven't read a lot of Black contemporary romance recently, I don't think. So this is very welcome, and I'm super excited to read it. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. quiet girls need more attention. Shy girls need more attention. I'm shy and I just love shy representation, shy black girl representation. I love that. I think that's what it is. I don't think I see that too often in the books that I read. And so now I'm even more excited to get into this. Oh my gosh, I'm tired. So it's like after midnight and I went out to eat. Well, I went for dessert with a friend after work, and then I came home and me and my boyfriend were yapping for a long time, and then I showered, and so then I decided that I wanted to read the next chapter I was on of The Neighbor Favor. And up until this point, I haven't really been sure of how I felt about it. I was really feeling it in chapter 1 because I just thought like this feels it feels like such an authentic voice. Then the emails started happening and I wasn't sure anymore. Like, even though the emails were, if you look at the date on them, the dates were sometimes like months apart between responses. So it's not like it was instant, but I think because I was reading them back to back, it felt kind of insta-lovey. And there was one part in the emails, though, that I was just like, oh, that is so adorable. I don't want to say it, though, because I don't want you to be looking for it when you get to that part. And I don't think that I would like that if I were reading the book for the first time. But so I wasn't sure about the emails, but one part of it did make me smile. And then after that, it was just kind of like, okay, I'm getting back to what I enjoyed about it from chapter 1, but I'm still just not super sold on this. But I just read chapter 4. And this author knows how to write about like tension and like yearning and just being attracted to somebody and what that feels like and the excitement of it being like a new person. So yeah, I just wanted to say that, and I'm barely awake right now, so I'm gonna go to sleep. See y'all tomorrow or another day. Hey guys, it is Thursday, April 17th, and this is how much time we have on the timer. 1 hour and 54 minutes. I started this challenge either on or before April 7th, so it's been 10 days. And this was not supposed to go on this long. My goal was to read for 6 hours each day, and that way I could finish this challenge in 4 days, but things were just happening. It was just very hard to do that. And then I also, as you guys probably know, had the storage issues with my computer trying to get the other video up, so that kind of stalled things a bit. But I have just finished The Neighbor Favor by Christina Forrest, and I have thoughts. I was really excited about this book because I want to get more into reading romance, and it's just such a cute cover. It's such a cute book. That opening chapter, it wasn't even a chapter, it was the prologue. It really hooked me. Like, it was perfectly written. I loved everything about it. The humor, just the way the author wrote. I was like, this is going to be a really good book. And then after that, you get to the emails, and I'm not spoiling anything because this is literally on the back of the book. But you get to the emails, and I don't know that I'm a fan of like insta love in books. Like, ask anybody else, and I don't think that they'll tell you that this is insta love, but the emails were like back to back to back. So even though they spanned over the course of like months, it read to me like this stuff was happening very like right after the other. And I think that I would have enjoyed that part more if like there was life happening. I could see what was happening in between the emails. But that would have made the book like exponentially longer, and I think that people might not have liked it that much. Like a romance book, I think in a lot of people's eyes shouldn't be super long. But I just started to enjoy it less after that, and I don't know if it was because sometimes I was reading it like when I was sleepy. I don't know, but it wasn't until there's a certain part in the book, there's a family cookout, and I started to like really get into it again. I will say that the author is very talented. Like, there are certain times where she's describing things and it's just flowing, and I'm just like, she gets it. She knows what it feels like to love somebody, like how it feels to yearn for somebody. But then there were other parts where I felt like it just fell flat for me. And one thing that I think I realized that I don't really like when it's done like this in a book, it brings up like a lot of popular book talk, booktube books. And it also like brings up like current popular music artists in certain scenes and people listening to things. And I can see how that would be appealing to some people, but for me it just falls flat because it feels like a ploy to gain my positive sentiment. You know, like even the mention of like, we live in a time where like mental health is like very talked about. It's not frowned upon really. I think that we talk about mental health so much and it's become so celebrated that it's not that I don't like it, but in the book, when you mention like a male character deciding to go to therapy or something, it's like it's not landing for me because I feel like you're just playing on current things. And some people may like that. I just didn't like it. I didn't like the mention of all these books that I've heard of, like the Poppy War. Somebody listening to this might really enjoy that. The Poppy War, This Is How You Win the Time War. Because the two people in the book, they're fantasy readers. And so these books are mentioned between the two of them. And I'm just like, that's very cute and sweet, but I'm just not a fan. I'm just not. I don't like it. But I don't know. I just didn't have super strong feelings about it. There were points where I definitely felt like, oh, this is really nice. Like, I love this. And then like there were certain moments between the two of them, Lily and Nick, where I was just like, wow, the author like described that feeling perfectly. But for the most part, I was just like, yeah, there's not enough of that in there to just keep me going. So I enjoyed the book. I did not dislike it, but it's not something that I was like excited to keep coming back to. And I think that's how I gauge if I really like a book. So I'm not going to continue on with this series because there's 2 other books about the other 2 sisters. I am kind of interested in Iris's story because I think that would be something that's a little bit more heavy, and I think that it's crazy because I think that's what I like in my books. Like, I need some sort of depth to the story. I want something that's light and fluffy, but I also want something that has a meaning to it. I don't know if I'm a light, fluffy, like solely a light, fluffy reader. I want to read a romance book, but you know, something like maybe the seven Days in June. Maybe something that's like cerebral but romantic. Like something that's a little bit more realistic. I don't know. But I said I wanted to get into romance, but it's like I liked it. I just didn't thoroughly enjoy it. But I would really like to get a fluffy book that I just love. But I just don't know if I ever will. I don't know. I'm saying that, and this is the first one I've read. But that's that. So I finished this, and I know that I mentioned that I was going to be reading Worthy by Jada Pinkett Smith next, and I've decided not to. Deep down, I don't want to read this book. I've always felt bad for her in terms of like how people just blame everything on her all the time, and I think it's important for people to be able to tell their own stories. And I wanted to like give her a fair chance. I don't know. I wanted to block out the noise and like read her story in her own words for myself and formulate my own opinion on things. But then I was like, why do I have to have an opinion? Like, I'm not drawn to her story. I'm more so drawn to her story because of the things that her life intersects with. Like, Will Smith has always been a favorite of mine. I have his memoir up there. Jada hasn't really like been in the forefront of my experiences in terms of media growing up like that. But like Tupac, I was also interested in hearing about. Of course, I was interested in hearing about the slap. But it's just like her individually, I'm not too invested in that story. I mean, I love Red Table Talk too. But if I was being honest with myself, I didn't want to read the book. And I feel like I was reading it to hear about all of these other people. And so I skimmed it. Like, I went through it and I went to all the parts that I was interested in hearing about, and I kind of skimmed them. So I think I got what I wanted from it. But I also just wanted to give her a chance because I've seen like bad reviews about the book, people calling her a narcissist, and just, I don't like that. I don't like seeing people gang up on somebody. Like, how can you tell somebody that their story isn't good the way that they wrote their own story? And so I wanted to be the one to be like, okay, I'm gonna put on my I don't know. I just wanted to give it a chance, but if I'm honest, I'm not drawn to the story, and that is okay. And I also want to say that it's okay to just not have opinions on things. And I really want to practice that a little bit more. Like, it's okay if I don't read her book. She's still a valuable human being. Like, I'm not doing anything wrong by not doing that. So I'm currently compiling a pile of books that I think I'm going to put into a little free library. And this is going to be one of them. But it is a beautiful book. Like, when I noticed when looking closer, these are like pictures, I'm guessing, of her and people that she loves as she was growing up. But the book is just beautiful. When you open it up, this is what the inside looks like. And like, they really did their big one. I don't know if you guys can see all of this. And just, they spent some money like on this. Like, I've never seen a book, I feel like, that looked like this. And I think honestly, I don't know if you guys can see that, it's not focusing. Oh yeah, and if you look closely on the side, there's like little pieces of red because there's snippets of wisdom that she has throughout the chapters, and just the details. Like, it's a really beautiful book. But yeah, I don't think it's for me. I'm paying attention to my gut feeling. I don't think it's for me, so I'm not going to read it. But keeping with the theme of celebrity, I guess, memoirs, there's only one other book that I had on my top shelf, which is my memoir/biography shelf, that I haven't read, and it is Thicker Than Water by Kerry Washington. Has really good reviews, even though I don't want to go off of like people's reviews. Just based on the back of the book, it has like good blurbs written about it. And I don't know, I haven't felt too drawn to reading this one either, but I opened it up because I was going to put this in the pile to go to the little free library too, but I opened it up and I just happened to open it up to a chapter that was talking about Scandal, and I loved Scandal. So I was like, I want to have my integrity intact with this challenge. I want to finish it. And I said that I was going to read a memoir. So I'm going to read this one. This is the other one that I had on my shelf that I haven't read yet. And yeah, I think it'll be cool. This is what I'm going to read next, but I'm going to start it after work today. I'm getting ready to go home for Easter. So between now and like this tonight, when I start reading this book, I think that I got other stuff to do. So I just wanted to update you guys. Like I said, it's like a little under 2 hours left. And yeah, I cannot believe this challenge went on this long, but it will be over today. Bye. So it is the next day. It's Friday, April 18th. I kind of like the blinds and how they're doing the shadow on my face being the morning. But I got 52 pages into Thicker Than Water. I feel like I should have gotten farther than that in like a little under 2 hours of having time to read. But do you ever just read and like be zoning out in the process? That's what was happening to me at some points. But 10 out of 10 decision to decide to read this instead of Jada Pinkett's book, I think, because I feel like I relate to Carrie so much. Reviews were saying that this book was boring, but I don't know. I think that I resonate with boring right now, but I just feel like I identify with her so much. She talked about her time on, so far she's talked about her time on Scandal and how it felt filming the last episode, specifically that she realized that the character she was playing and also herself had been tied restricted by what she had been expected to do, and now she had freedom and free range to figure out what she really wanted for herself. And that's exactly how I felt after getting my PhD, and like this space that I've been in of trying to figure out who am I and what do I really want. Like, I felt that so deeply. Her dad's side of her family is from South Carolina, which is where I live, and hearing her talk about when they came down here to visit and places that she named that I'm familiar with, I was just like, wow. She talks about her love of the water, like swimming. I was a fish when I was little. Loved going to the pool like Thursdays in summer camp because they were pool days. And then also, she's from New York, and I lived there for a year because my grandparents had migrated from the South to New York, and then they brought my mom and her siblings up there. And so we have roots in New York, and then I actually lived there for a year. And like, she went to PS 1 something and then PS 71, and I went to one of those PS like schools. So I don't know, I can just really identify with this book and the feelings that she's feeling. So I'm excited to keep reading it, and I'll probably finish it if I keep reading it daily like this upcoming week. But yeah, so I think that this was a successful-ish, not really, 24-hour reading vlog. It took me literally 2 weeks to do this, and then my timer stopped. Like, I think I had about 9 hours and some change left, and then the timer just disappeared off my phone. So I had to guesstimate how much time I had left. But the amount of time it took me to complete this aside, I do feel like, you know, it was pretty cool. I finished 2 books. I finished Parish, and I finished, what was the other book? Oh, I finished Parish and The Neighbor Favor. Parish, I gave 5 stars. It was a very, I don't want to keep calling it traumatic, but it was a traumatic read. However, it was masterfully done in my opinion, because it wasn't just one of those trauma porn type reads. Like, there was hope kind of embedded in the story in an impossible situation, in my opinion. And then The Neighbor Favor, I did enjoy. I enjoyed it like the most at first, and then it kind of didn't live up to its expectations for me, but it was a really good story. And I did say that I wasn't going to continue with the series, but after posting a review on Fable, somebody convinced me to try the next book, and I've heard that they get better, so I'm going to keep reading because I think it'll be kind of fun to see the other sisters. I didn't think I was going to be a fan of Violet, and her story is next, so we're going to see if I like her, end up liking her or not. But yes, that is the end of this 24-hour, aka 2-week reading vlog. I hope that you guys enjoy, and I will see you soon.